Hey everyone, Reaper here again with another video. This one is a very special video for me because I finally completed my Silver Age X-Men collection. This is something that I thought about doing for many years, and for a while I put it off, and there were times when I said maybe I won't do that, but then I decided, I'm going to stick with my plan and I'm going to finish it, and I did. So for this video, in a few moments, I'm going to switch it to the way I used to do videos where you only see the book, so you don't have to necessarily see me. So you can get a close-up of the book, and I could talk about it a little bit for those of you that are very interested in seeing all the Silver Age X-Men books, hearing a little bit about them, this and that, that and this. This should be a good video for you. I also am including the grades for each of these videos. Now, the reason why I'm doing that is because part of my goal of finishing my Silver Age X-Men collection, there was also an aspect that I wanted a certain grade for a majority of them. Now, I was unable to achieve that grade with X-Men #1 since it's only a 3.0 because it's gotten so expensive. But for everything else, I was able to achieve my goal of having at least a 4.0 or better. And like I said, with each book I show, I'll tell you what the grade is. I looked them all over. I used my my guide to grading comics and some other things to help me grade the books. Some of the books were already graded. I already graded them, but I just reevaluated them just to make sure that I was really up to date with my grading, because over the years my grading has improved, as with anything that you do over and over again. With experience, you improve on it, and grading, comic book grading, is one of them for me, as it is with many of you. So that's why, as I completed my collection, I looked at all the books again and reevaluated some of the grades. A majority of them stayed the same grade because I'm a decent grader. Some did change as I've learned over the years. So we'll talk about that. So stick around. After the title, we will be into my Silver Age X-Men collection. Hope you enjoy. And here we start off with X-Men 66. This is the very, as for a lot of us know, this is the very last issue of X-Men, Silver Age X-Men, and it's dated March 1970. In reality, it probably came out in December 1969, maybe even January 1970. I'm not quite sure exactly what book signifies the beginning of the Bronze Age. I think a lot of people think it's Green Lantern 76. Maybe some others think it's something else. I don't know. But this is usually attributed to the Silver Age and is the very last issue before the X-Men went into reprints for the next, 5 years? 4.5 years? Whatever it is. So anyway, here it is. This is a 5.5 copy. I had a 4.0 and I upgraded it because with a lot of the X-Men, if not most, I don't want to say all of them, because not all of them meet this requirement. But I wanted to have books that were at least 4.0, and I have a few that are 4.0, as we'll get to them. But not many. Most of my books are in this X-Men run 5.5 to 6.5. Here we have X-Men 65, nice book, nice cover. And this right here is a 5.5. We have X-Men 64. This one was something I bought. This was a book I bought back in 1993, and I graded it. It's a 6.0. But I bought this back in 1993, and I remember I just picked it up in the pile. I knew it was the first appearance of Sunfire, and I was wondering why the pile of books I had were so expensive. Well, it was because of this one right here. Now, this book, I think I paid like maybe, I don't know, $40 for it back in 1993. It was a nice grade, I give it a 6.0. because there's a little bit of, as you can see here, maybe you can, maybe you can't, with the glare, I don't know. But a little bit of the color came off. And I think that was something that I accidentally did the way I packed it over the years. I know some of you have asked me, oh, can you do a video how you store your books? I already did a video like that, but I'll do a recap video in addition to some other topics pretty soon. Here's X-Men 63, another great cover. Now, you know, I think a lot of us are familiar with the X-Men 1 through 20 run, the covers and all that stuff, and that's where mainly a lot of the first appearances come from. And there are books outside. Here's X-Men 62. This is the first time you see Magneto. Oh, I'm sorry. This one right here is a 7-0. This one right here is also a 7-0. This is the first time you see Magneto without his helmet. As I was saying, once we get outside the X-Men 1 through 20 run, there are still first appearances here and there, but they're in small doses. And there are some covers that we are familiar with, but again, I think it's in small doses. And I think that's why one of the reasons, I should say, let me get rid of these, I'll start showing some more books. One of the reasons why I wanted to show you all of the books in the X-Men Silver Age, because I think a lot of the covers some of us are unfamiliar with, outside the more famous ones that were done by Jack Kirby or Barry Windsor Smith or Neil Adams. Here's X-Men 61. This is the second appearance of Sauron. This copy right here is a 5.5. Now, I don't have my other copy with me, but I have another copy of X-Men number 60, which is the first time Karl Lycos becomes Sauron. This book has become hot as of late. And again, this is one of the books I was just mentioning that I think a lot of us are familiar with, the cover and all of that. And this is, I think, also the first time the X-Men logo is smaller like this. It's not the first time it was designed like this. This is the Steranko design. But as you'll see with 59, as I'll show you, the logo is just shrunk just a little bit. This book here, I give it a 4.5 because it has a little bit of staining. But this is also a book that I had signed by Neil Adams. I met him at Zap Comics. Okay, it was about a few days before my son was born. I had him sign a couple of things, and this was one of them. I have a picture, which I'll include in this video, of me shaking his hand after he had signed this. It was taken. Yeah, it's a 4.5 because on the back cover it has a little bit of staining. But it looks nice, right? But this one right here, like I said, I got this one signed at Zap Comics. I bought this at a convention. My very first comic book convention coming back to the hobby back in, I think it was April or May 2014. This one here, I bought this one. This is an 8.0 copy. I bought from Zap Comics. They had their comic book day sale back in 2014 where I think it was half off wall books, and this was one of the wall books. And I think with a press, it could use a press. With a press, it might even go up to a 9.85. But it's a really nice copy. But like I said, my very first copy of X-Men 60 that I bought back in 1993, it's probably like a 1.5. I didn't get it out. I was just too lazy to dig in the boxes and all that stuff. So there's X-Men 59. This was also bought at Zap Comics back in at the New York Comic Con, actually. And this is what I was talking about. Even though the logo is still styled the same way, it's a little bit bigger. It's bigger than the logo here. So it's with X-Men 60, the logo was shrunk down a little bit from the giant X-Men logo coming right at you, designed by Steranko with issue 50, which we'll see. This book right here is another 5.5. You know, like I said, I tried to keep my books within 5.5 range. Yeah, that's usually the sweet spot for me, but although I do have several that are above that, not too much higher than that. But this is the first appearance of Karl Lycos, who would later become Sauron in issue 60. And here's another famous cover that I think we're all familiar with, X-Men 58. This is the first time Alex Summers becomes Havoc. This copy right here, I'd give it a 6.5. It's almost a 7.0. I mean, it very well may be a 7.0, but I think it's a 6.5. Very nice cover. This is also my second copy of this. My first copy, I think I still have it somewhere. That's probably like a 1.0. has a page missing, and it was part of that initial Silver Age X-Men batch I purchased from 1 Million Comics in 1993. Here we go again. This is the Return of the Sentinels with X-Men 57. This copy right here is a 7.0. This is also an upgraded copy. I originally purchased the first copy of this. I don't have it anymore. I sold it off. But I originally purchased X-Men 57 probably in the summer of 2014. When I came back to the hobby, I said to myself, I'm only going to collect X-Men. Well, that lasted a couple of months before I started getting into Spider-Man again and Batman. But anyway, it was during that period I purchased that, and I got rid of it because the centerfold was detached by the bottom staple. I bought it off of eBay, and that wasn't described in the eBay listing. So I got rid of it, and I upgraded this one a couple of years ago. This came from the same collection that my Incredible Hulk #1 came from, the Doctor, who unfortunately committed suicide. He had this book, a bunch with several others I purchased. Here's another upgraded copy. I upgraded this, I think, last year, the summer of last year. And it was another book I bought in the summer of 2014 originally, but I upgraded it last year. X-Men 56. This is a 6.0 copy. Again, why did I upgrade it? Same reason I upgraded the 57. The bottom staple of the centerfold was a little loose, if not detached. I don't remember. And I was like, well, no, I could do better than that, and that's why I brought this one in. Here's X-Men 55. This is a 5.5 copy. Okay, my only copy. It wasn't an upgrade or anything like that. Let's move these aside as I reach for another pile of X books. Here's another copy of X-Men 54. This is my third copy. In this video, you'll see multiple copies of some books, but then a lot of the other multiple copies are in separate boxes and all that stuff. They're either going to be sold off, which is this box right here, or in my collection, which is in the closet back here off camera. So I didn't really feel like digging through them. But anyway, this is my third copy. My original copy was part of that original batch that I keep talking about in 1993, which was probably a 4.0. It had a little piece of tape over here. I don't know why it had tape. There was no tear there, but it had tape. But I believe I eventually sold that one off, and I have another copy in the box to be sold. But this one right here is a nice 6.5 copy of the first appearance of the Living Pharaoh and the first appearance of Alex Summers, who becomes Havoc in issue 58. Here's another nice copy right here. I give this copy a 6.0. This is Blastar, who originally made his first appearance in, I believe, Fantastic Four. I don't remember which number, but it was, I guess it was around this time, late 60s or whatever. But it's a 6.0 copy. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Was this the first Barry Windsor Smith artwork, professional work? I think it was, but if it wasn't, by all means, correct me in the comments. Here's another book, the first appearance of Eric the Red. Oh, wait, no, I don't think this is the first appearance of Eric the Red. I think that was in the issue before this. I apologize for that. But anyway, I think you find out that Eric the Red was actually Cyclops or whatever. This is a nice 7.0 copy. I purchased this from Zap Comics back in the summer of 2014. Yeah, it was in that summer of 2014 when I started doing videos, and I started doing haul videos. And if you remember, if you watch those old videos, which were very bad, the first two had a lot of X-Men in it, and that's where you see some of these. This, I believe, is the first appearance of Eric the Red. Again, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I'm sorry if I don't remember. But a really cool cover by Steranko. This was another purchase from Zap Comics. This copy right here is another 6.0 with number 51. And here's the famous Steranko cover of first time Lorna Dane becomes Polaris. This is a 5.5 copy. All right, not bad, not bad. I remember I went to the New York Comic Con in 2017 with my friend Michelle, and she purchased this copy. She was a real big X-Men fan and liked Steranko and all that stuff, even though she said his hair looks comical. But anyway, she purchased an 8.5 copy, CGC by Harley Yee. Still has it. I think, you know, it's worth a bit of money as all these X books have been going up in value. But anyway, this is a 5.5 copy. Again, a summer 2014 purchase when I was heavily going into X-Men. It was right after the Days of Future Past movie, and I decided that I was going to go full force into X-Men. Here's the first Steranko one, and the last of this old X-Men style before it changed over into the one that we're all familiar with, which I think is the most popular, this type here. It was changed by Steranko. But anyway, this is a 5.0 copy. It might be a 5.5, but I graded it at a 5.0. This is the first appearance of Lorna Dane and the first time Steranko works on X-Men. Kind of a weird cover, don't you think? Show one. You know, I've said it before, I think a lot of these X-Men books, in particular this era in the 40s and the 30s, numbers 30s and 40s, are forgotten about. This is where they start the featuring the X-Men, like X-Men featuring Cyclops, featuring the Angel. Well, here we have X-Men number 48. This copy right here is a nice 7.0 copy. Beautiful blue background with the yellow. I really like it. Here is X-Men 47. This is a 6.5 copy. I originally had another copy of this, but the centerfold was detached with the bottom staple. It was either detached or loose. So I said, it's time to get rid of it. So I upgraded it to this one right here because I wanted to make sure that all my X-Men books, or at least most of them rather, were structurally sound. And what I mean by structurally sound is, you know, I could open them without having to worry about the cover getting weaker or the cover tearing off because of it's ripped at the staples, at the centerfold or whatever. I want something that I could open every now and then. Here we have X-Men 46. This is the last time the Juggernaut is in the X-Men Silver Age. I believe so. If not, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But this is a very nice 6.0 copy. I love the Juggernaut covers. And I mentioned that in a previous video, how sometimes his appearances, his covers are forgotten about after issue 13. Well, this is one of the great ones, I think. I mean, they're all great in my opinion, but one I think is sometimes forgotten about. Here we have X-Men featuring the senses shattering Cyclops. I love this book. This is a nice 6.5 copy, and this is a purchase from the summer of 2020 from my local comic book shop, Main Street Comics. I was buying a lot of comics, a lot of X-Men books around that time from him, and I'm just glad I did, because I think X-Men recently has been just going crazy, or at least as of June 2021. Here is a nice 5.5 copy of X-Men number 44 featuring the Angel, another summer 2020 purchase. And here's another purchase from Main Street Comics, my local comic book shop. I still gotta either change the bag or whatever. I can't get this sticker off. I really don't like his stickers. But anyway, this is a nice 6.5 copy of X-Men 43, which has a really cool Magneto cover, if I do say so. This was one from 2020. And here we have X-Men 42, The Death of Professor X, who turned out to be the Changeling who made his appearance in X-Men 35, which we'll see in a few moments. This is a 6.0 copy. And one more before I change the batch. We have X-Men 41, another summer 2020 purchase. I was really trying to finish up the collection, finish my collection up. This is a nice 5.5 copy. So how do you know the grades, Reaper? I'm just looking at them. Well, I have a list in front of me, so off camera. That's how I know what they are. Yeah, they're on the back of them. I put them on the back, but I have the list in front of me too. So here we have X-Men number 40. This is, I give it a 4.5 copy. This is, you know, I thought about upgrading it, but 4.5 is okay with me. Like I said, with my, I want at least a 4.0 on my X-Men books, with the exception being X-Men 1, because that's just too expensive right now to upgrade. Okay, I'm in no position to do that, but that's okay. But here's X-Men 40. It's 4.5 copy. First time, I think it's the first appearance of Frankenstein in the Marvel Comics. Whatever. Here's X-Men 39. I love this cover. I love all black covers, especially when there's no creasing in them. The only thing here is there's a store stamp over here that's sort of smeared. And for a while, I considered selling it, upgrading it. But I said, you know what? No, I like this. I think it's the book. The rest of the book is so nice. So I give this book a 6.5. It could very well be higher. It looks much higher, but because of this, and there's little things, very minor things, I break the grade down. But it's a really cool book. Could use a press too. But I think it's a really good book as is. Very nice. And here's another one that I really, really like. This is another 6.5 copy. Summer 2020 purchase. X-Men 38. I don't know what it is. Here we go. I think this is a cover that a lot of X-Men, this is the first appearance of the new costumes too. Should have told you that. But I think a lot of X-Men fans are familiar with this cover, right? And here's an example of a cover that I don't think a lot of X-Men fans are familiar with. It's one of those forgotten covers. Am I going to say it's underrated? No, I'm not saying it's underrated. But it's one that I was like, oh wow, I've never seen this cover before. And it's cool to see. Here's X-Men 37. I think this is the first appearance of the Mutant Master, who is the leader of Factor 3. There's a group you don't hear about anymore. This is a nice 7.0 copy. Another summer 2020 purchase. X-Men 36. This could use a press, but it's a pretty cool copy. I give it a 5.5. I think I purchased this early 2021. Not that when I purchased it matters. I was just trying to remember some of these things. But here's a summer 2020 purchase. X-Men 35. I previously said this is the first appearance of the Changeling and guest starring Spider-Man. This is a nice 7.0 copy. Really cool. Moving along. Let's get these out of the way. And let's get to number 34. This is a 5.5 copy of X-Men 34 featuring Taranis, who is, I guess, a Hulk villain in the early 60s and later on in Tales to Astonish. Love this cover. Another one of those Juggernaut covers I was talking about, X-Men 33. This is a nice 6.0 copy. And here's another 6.0 copy of X-Men 32. This is the second time we see the Juggernaut past his initial appearances in issues 12 and 13. A summer 2020 purchase. I can fit a few more on here. This I bought this year. Love this cover. Just love the coloring. The dark blue and the X-Men mixing with the red and the yellow. I guess this is the first appearance of the Cobalt Man with X-Men 31. I don't know. Maybe. But this is a 6.5 copy. And here's a cover that I don't think a lot of people are familiar with. I certainly wasn't. X-Men number 30. The Warlock Wakes. Beautiful blue cover with the white. It looks so fantastic. I give this a 7.0. Here we have X-Men 29. I think I purchased this sometime in 2020. I don't remember. Maybe late in 2020. But anyway, this is a 5.5 copy of X-Men 29. So let's remove this stack. We'll try not to knock things down as I get to the first appearance of the Banshee with X-Men 28. This is a 6.0 copy. This is an upgrade from my beat-up original 1993 Silver Age X-Men purchase, with the X-Men 54, 58, 60. I talked about that earlier in the video. 28 was included in there. It was a Pence copy. It was beat to hell. It had a grease marker over here, almost like someone was trying to color in the X. I gave that copy away. I just couldn't stand it. But here's a nice 6.0 copy of it. And here's another really nice copy, a 7.0 copy of X-Men 27, The Return of the Mimic. Here's X-Men 26. This is a 5.5 copy. And X-Men 26 has the distinct title, or whatever, of being the very last X-Men book I needed to purchase. I had all the X-Men books, I just didn't have number 26. Now, why is that? It just happened that way. It wasn't planned. It wasn't like I was dodging X-Men 26. It just happened that way. But X-Men 26 was the very last book I purchased that I needed to finish my Silver Age X-Men collection. And here it is in all its glory. And here is the one that comes before it. I purchased this from Greg Reese. He's got a lot of good stuff. I purchased it from his website. He didn't pay me to say that. But no, I purchased this from Greg Reese recently. X-Men 25, beautiful cover, nice 7.0 copy. And here is a copy I purchased from Bob Storms, nice 6.0 copy of X-Men 24. And here's another copy that I won in an auction. This was probably a 6.0 too, maybe even a 6.5. It was cheap, you know. I said, what the hell? Not that X-Men 24 is much of anything, but I got it anyway. So both of them are pretty much the same grade. Maybe this one's just a little bit better than Bob Storms' copy, but Bob Storms' copy is nice too. And here we have X-Men 23. This is a nice 5.5 copy. And this one right here is X-Men 22. I love this copy. This is a 6.0 copy. This is, I believe, the first time Count Nefaria, not his first appearance. I think that was in Avengers 12 or 13 or whatever. It's the first time the X-Men encountered Count Nefaria, who they would later famously encounter in X-Men 94 and 95. And here is X-Men 21. This book came with X-Men 18. I wanted to buy X-Men 18. This is a 5.5 copy. And this was included with it. I wasn't looking for X-Men 21. It just came with X-Men 18. So I was like, yeah, what the hell? And here we have the final 20 here. Purchased this from Zap Comics back in the spring of 2014. It's a nice 7.5 copy. Purchased this from my friend Mike. I recently did the live show. For all of you that watched the live show recently, thank you very much. Show support for Mike and his channel, The Collective. I don't know as of right now if he's changing the name up a bit, but we talked about he might change the name up a bit to differentiate his YouTube channel name from the conspiracy one that's called The Collective and some others. But this was an upgrade. I previously had like a 3.5 copy. This is a nice 6.5 copy of the first appearance of the Mimic. And here's that X-Men 18 that I was talking about that 21 came with. It's another 5.5 copy. This was one of the last books I got that I needed in the X-Men 1 through 20 run. Here's one of my favorites. Here's a nice, now, as I regraded this, like I said earlier in the video, I went through all the books again. I regraded them. Some of the grades went up. Some of them went down slightly. Most of them stayed the same. This one went up. Something I missed. This thing is a beautiful copy. Absolutely beautiful. This is an 8.0 copy of X-Men 17. Purchased this back in 2018 from Instagram. This I got from Ted. I know I've been saying I bought these books from here, there. I didn't say it with everybody. I should have. But this was a book I purchased from Superworld back in 2016 of X-Men 16. Nice 6.0 copy. Ted Van Leeuw. I like working with Ted, and I think he's really, really good. Here is X-Men 15. This is a 4.5 copy of the first appearance of the Master Mold. This is actually my second copy. I originally had a copy that I bought from Zap Comics back in 2014. That was a really low-grade copy, maybe a 2.5, and I've been meaning to upgrade it, and I did a couple of years ago to a 4.5. No big deal, right? But it's upgraded. Here's the first appearance of the Sentinels with X-Men 14. This is a 7.0 copy. A big upgrade from my 1.5 copy that I purchased with the original 1993 Silver Age X-Men collection that I bought from not collection, but books I bought from 1 Million Comics. I think there's one more from that I have to show you that you'll see in this video. But this is another one. Really, really cool book. Very happy to upgrade. This is one of the books I upgraded back in the summer of 2014. Here's another Ted Superworld purchase. Nice 7.0 copy of the second appearance of the Juggernaut. And here is a 5.0 copy. It looks better than a 5.0, but I don't know. I don't really, the corner, you probably can't really see it too much. That bottom corner has a little bit of a stain, a little bit of messed up. It's not ripped or anything, but that's what's preventing me from giving this a 5.5 or a 6.0. It's just But the rest of it's beautiful. It's a nice 5.0 copy. I got this in the summer of 1996 from this guy named Robert Crestall, who used to operate out of Canada. I forget where in Canada, maybe Montreal. Here's a 3.5 copy of X-Men 11. I purchased this in 1993 at a local convention. And let me just move this out of the way. And I upgraded it to a nice 6.5 copy that I purchased from Ted. This is a book I bought in New York Comic Con in 2018 from Bob Storms. Nice 6.5 copy of the first Silver Age appearance of Kazar, or Kazar. Another Ted purchase, 5.0 copy of X-Men number 9, first appearance of Lucifer. It was an upgrade from my X-Men 9 that I bought in the summer of 2014, where one page was ripped out. It was the pinup at the end of Jean Grey, and because the pinup was ripped out, the front page was loose. I didn't know at the time. I was getting back in the hobby. I wasn't counting pages. It was my mistake, but it was something that I learned from, and I finally upgraded this, I think, in 2019. Yeah, it took quite a couple of years for me to upgrade it. Here's another purchase from Zap Comics in the summer of 2014. Yeah, I think it's the first time they had the blue in the logo. First appearance of Eunice. This is a 5.5 copy. Beautiful 6.0 copy of X-Men number 7. First appearance of Cerebro. The second appearance of the Blob. I purchased this from Mike, which I'll show you the photo right now. Yeah, in the parking lot of Zach Comics. X-Men 6. I got this from my local comic book shop, Main Street Comics. It's a nice 4.0 copy. It could very well be a 4.5, but I'm comfortable with giving it a 4.0. It's the first time Submariners in the X-Men. X-Men number 5. This is a 4.0 copy. It's an upgrade from my 3.0 that I purchased off of Facebook many years ago. But, yeah, not bad. Not bad for a 4.0, right? X-Men number 4. This is the one that's shot up in value like crazy over the last 6 months, a year. Anyway, its first appearance is Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, Mastermind. 4.5 copy as I reevaluated it. Very nice. Now here's the last book from that 1 Million Comics purchase I made back in 1993 with the X-Men 14, 28 to 54 to 58 to 60. And this was the earliest Silver Age book I ever had, the earliest X-Men book I had for many, many years. First appearance of the Blob. This is a 3.5. I originally took a marker and filled in the black here, which had a little bit of what it looks like right now. Fortunately, Mike was able to remove the restoration. I told him exactly what I did. I did the restoration, so I know exactly where it was. He looked at it and he removed it. I think it brought it down to a 3.5. Who knows? Maybe even a 3.0. But I graded it a 3.5. But it's still a very nice looking book. Still very presents well, and it's still with me. Now the last 3 are all CGC'd, so that's why I moved those books off. Here is the upgrade of X-Men number 3. First appearance of the Blob. Nice 5.0 copy. Here's a book I've wanted for many years. I got it in the summer of 2014. Hopefully there's not much of a glare there. X-Men number 2. Nice 6.5 copy of the first appearance of the Vanisher and the second appearance of the X-Men. And now, as I remove these, we will get to the big money book that's so hot right now. And the one book I could not upgrade to a 4.0 or better. Here we have X-Men number 1. First appearance of the X-Men at a 3.0 copy. This is my 3rd copy of this book. The very first copy I purchased was a coverless copy back in '93. Sold that off. And then in 2014, around the summer actually, I was able to get my first copy with the cover. That was also a 3.0 that I had graded. But then I sold that one off to help pay for my Amazing Fantasy 15, which I think was a good idea. But a month later, I bought this copy. And even though this copy is a 3.0 and it has its 3.0 defects, I think it looks better than my previous copy. If you watch some of my older stuff from 2015, 2016, when you might see the older copy I had, the red was very faded, the white wasn't as bright, and it had some other issues. So I think this is, in a way, an upgrade, but not necessarily a complete upgrade. But I'm very happy to have it, and I never thought that a 3.0, at least at this time, June 2021, is going anywhere between $12,000 to $16,000. Never would have guessed. So I'm glad I got my copy when I did. My copies, all that stuff. But that is my X-Men Silver Age collection. Sorry if I rambled a little bit, but this was a very important series for me, because it was the X-Men that made me a comic book collector. I liked other books that I came across, like the Tales from the Crypt reprints, but I wasn't collecting Tales from the Crypt back in 1993. It was the X-Men that brought me in. That's when I started collecting those books, and then I started taking interest in other X-related books, including other titles like Amazing Spider-Man and Spawn and so many others. So I really, X-Men holds a very special place in my collection, in my heart, and that's why it's been such an accomplishment for me to finish my Silver Age collection, something that I would have marveled at back when I first started collecting in 1993, and I was very happy to get all the books I was able to get, upgrade them, and share them with you today. Thank you for watching, everybody. Take care and be safe.